Hi guys, how you know you I how you know don't I don't know the big difference and no and not or none, okay? So I today I will, okay? This video these videos will help me, okay? Will help me excellent study English study, right? Let's go. No, not, or none. Most learners get this wrong, right? Subscribe it, like it.
That is not good. That is no good. Look at this. That is not good. That is no good. She is not taller than me. She is no taller than me. Maybe you've seen things like this before and thought, wait, should I use no or not there? And if you have, you're like most of my students. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to choose between no, not, and none, step by step, with simple rules and lots of examples, so you can stop making these small but very common mistakes, and so that your English will sound more clear, more advanced, and more natural. Oh, and make sure you watch until the end, where I tell you a pretty awkward story about how one of my friends made a horrible mistake with this in front of my parents. It was horrible. Anyway, if you want to reach an advanced level of English, you really need to know this grammar. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Now this is part of a bigger topic. Quantifiers. No, not, and none all belong to this group.
Quantifiers.
Now this is part of a bigger
Quantifiers.
Quantifiers.
topic. Quantifiers. No, not, and none all belong to this group, and we look at them, all of them, along with every other type of quantifier in my brilliant B2 course. So if you're serious about mastering English grammar, that's where you will find the full training. Now, before I can explain why these two sentences were wrong, that is no
good. She's not taller than me.
good, and she is not.
I don't know because this is wrong. I don't know, okay? I am here for my learning, okay, my friends?
Not taller than me. We first need to understand what each of these three words, no, not, and none,
None. Okay.
actually does in a sentence. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Greg. I make advanced grammar
Hi, Greg. Welcome.
simple and teach you British English pronunciation so that you can speak English clearly and finally understand native speakers easily. And you can download the latest edition of my Quick Fix magazine. It's the No, Not, None special, and
The accent then I consume is accent, British accent. This is great. Australian accent, no, a little. One YouTuber I watch the videos accent Australian, but British accent is okay.
the magazine is really going to help you learn this grammar because you see it in context, in use, naturally, in a story. You also learn all the top chunks that use this grammar, and there are some fun activities and a writing challenge to help you remember this grammar in a cool, fun way. It's free. You can get it by clicking up there or by clicking the link in the description or clicking the QR code. Enter your email address and I will send it to you free via email. Okay, let's start with the word no.
No.
Now, no is used to directly negate a noun. I think of this as meaning zero quantity, and the word comes before the noun. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples and just think zero quantity. There is no milk left. Okay, how much milk?
No
Zero
milk.
quantity.
Okay,
I
quantity.
want a new car, but I have no money.
I want a new car, but I have no money.
How much money do I have?
No money.
Zero. And I have no idea where my keys are.
I have no idea where my keys are.
No idea.
No idea.
Okay? Do you have some idea? No. Zero quantity. No idea
Zero. All right.
where my keys are. Okay, you will also hear no in these expressions. Like, no good can come from lying. No good. Okay, zero quantity good. Okay, no good. This computer is no better than the old one. This computer is no better than the old one. Yeah. So this means there is zero better, okay? Zero improvement. In other words, this computer is equally bad as the old one.
Yeah.
We'll come back to this later and compare it with not better because it does change the meaning. But I'll explain that later. And finally, you will also hear no used as just a standalone answer. Like, did you do your homework? No.
No.
Did the girls go to school today?
No.
No. But do be careful with this. If someone invites you to do something and you just say no, it can sound a little bit rude, okay? So it's always better if somebody is asking you or offering something to you, always say, no thank you. Not today, maybe another time. Okay, let's move on
Maybe another time.
not. So no was used to negate nouns. Not is used to negate verbs and adjectives and other parts of the sentence. For example, my daughter does not like broccoli. Okay, does not. This negates, or it makes negative.
Okay, like is verb. Not use negative verb. Not like. No like broccoli. No, not like broccoli. My daughter does not like broccoli.
Verb like. She likes broccoli. She does not like broccoli. It is raining. It is not raining. Okay, not simply makes the verb negative. This is practical for our family. This is not practical for our family. Okay, practical, not practical. It just negates the adjective or makes the adjective negative. We can also use this with articles, like she is not a teacher, she's a doctor. Okay, another example is I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. Okay, in the positive, I am sure about that, but we use the word not to make that negative. I am not sure about that. I don't think that will work.
I don't think
do not, don't think that will work. Okay, one common mistake that people make with these negative words is using double negatives in sentences, which is a really, really common mistake in English. And in fact, it's one of the mistakes that I mentioned in that video there, along with 5 other very common mistakes. So watch that video after this one. Okay, it's the next perfect step after watching this video. And remember, you can also download the latest edition of my Quick Fix magazine to help you learn and remember all of this in a fun, practical, and memorable way. It's really cool. Okay, now let's have a look at none. None replaces no plus the noun. Remember earlier we looked at no plus the noun, which meant zero quantity noun. Well, we can just replace that with, in many situations, with the word none. And the many situations that I just mentioned are basically when the noun has already been mentioned. Okay, and everybody understands from the context the noun that we're talking about. For example, how many apples do we have? None. Okay, in other words, zero quantity apples, no apples. How many brothers or sisters do you have? How many siblings do you have? None. Okay, we know the noun, we've already mentioned it, so instead of saying no brothers and no sisters, you can just say none. We can also use it in full sentences, not just one word, none, none, none. Used in a full sentence, it looks like this. She was sad because none of her friends came to the party. None of her friends. Okay, zero quantity of her friends.
None of her friends.
None of blah blah blah. None of my students understood this lesson.
None of my students understood this lesson.
Hopefully that one is not true, but none of my students understood the lesson. Now, pay attention, be really, really careful, because there is an extremely common mistake that students make with none. And the common mistake is things like this. We have none apples. No, because none means no plus the noun, and we know what the noun is. So if you say none apples, it's more or less the same as saying we have no apples. It sounds equally strange. Okay, instead we simply need to say we have no apples. Okay, no apples, zero quantity apples, or we don't have any apples. We don't have any apples. So remember, none cannot go directly before a noun. It's not used in the same way as no. All right, so now we've looked at no, not, and none. Let's have a look at those two sentences that I showed you at the beginning of this video. That is not good. That is no good.
All right.
Why do we do this? Why do we use no good? Well, we use no good because it's the natural and common way to express that something is completely useless and not acceptable. Okay? Remember that I said no was like zero quantity. Well, no good is like zero quantity of good. Okay? So not good is possible. But if I say, this is not good, that just negates the verb is. It is good, it is not good. All I'm saying here is that it's not good. That means it might be okay, it might be acceptable, but if I say no good, it means zero quantity good. Absolutely rubbish and useless. So there is a small and important difference between those two expressions. Okay, how about this one? She is not taller than me, or she is no taller than me. Well, here we often use no plus a comparative, like no taller, no better, no faster, when we want to emphasize that two things are equal, or that there's no difference. If I say she is not taller than me, I'm simply saying that I am taller. That's it. That's just a fact. However, if I say she is no taller than me, here I'm expressing that she is more or less the same height as me. But I'm putting a limit on that comparison, and that limit is my height. So she might be similar Yes. But taller? No. She's no taller than me. Okay, here are 3 more examples that perfectly summarize this lesson. Your English will get no better if you don't subscribe to this channel.
Oh, I subscribe in your channel, my friend. Your English will get no better if you don't subscribe to this channel.
No better. That's a comparison, which means exactly the same as now. Okay, with a limit of your current level right now. Okay, your English will not improve if you forget everything in this video. Your English will not improve. Here, not improve. Here we are negating the verb improve. Your English will improve. Your English will not improve. And how many times have you seen a teacher offer a free magazine with his lessons? None. Okay, in other words, no plus noun, like no times, none. And that reminds me, yeah, you know what to do. Okay, so let me tell you a real story before we finish, and I want you to avoid this terrible, terrible mistake. Years ago, I brought a Spanish friend to my parents' house, and my mum offered her some dessert, and she said, no. That was it. Just no. And in her head, and like it was grammatically correct, and in Spanish, with a certain intonation, it was okay. But in British culture, it felt really, really rude and awkward. So if she had just said, no thank you,
In Portuguese, this is very rude. Too. Okay. No, no, no. No. Rude. No, thank you. No. Together. Okay, today I'm learning. No. No 100% learner, but learning. Okay. Maybe I forget this, but I don't know. Let's go, my baby. Before I study Enki, after I study English. English Enki, that's, oh my gosh, bye.